Tu viens à l'Union un jour et tu viens toujours. Quoi. Voilà, je suis tombé amoureux de ce peuple, il n'y a pas d'autre mot.
Au bar. Donc voilà, j'ai pas vu grand chose du match, mais voilà, de ce que j'ai vu.
On nous taxe de bobo, machin. Il n'y en a presque aucun que je connais qui mange du quinoa.
Stamnummer 10.
Welkom bij alweer de 8ste aflevering van Stamnummer 10. Dat is nog steeds de podcast waarin we op zoek gaan naar de ziel van de mooiste voetbalclub van Europa en ver daarbuiten, La Royale Union Saint-Gilloise. Welkom Nico.
Dank u.
Het is lang geleden, je bent terug.
Inderdaad.
Wat heb je het meest gemist aan het verhaal, aan de podcast?
Goeie vraag. Maar ik denk wel de excitement voor de aflevering en de emotie na de aflevering. Ja, inderdaad. Zo de gezonde spanning ervoor en dan... Als je een goede aflevering op de mat kunt leggen, dan die emotie daarna is ook wel dat groepsgevoel. Dat is wel. Dat mist ik wel. Een beetje gelijk een voetbalmatje. Een beetje de stress ervoor en dan de blijdschap erna.
Oké. Welkom Joris ook.
Hallo.
Je hebt ook speciale weken achter de rug. Je bent namelijk een ster geweest op tv. Hoe was het?
Ja.
Veel reactie gehad op je beiden?
De 4 extra Instagram-volgers. Wauw, ik wist niet wat te doen met die aandacht.
Ik moet zeggen, het heeft wel gewerkt voor de podcast, want niet het aantal luistercijfers, maar toch het aantal keer dat we gecheckt zijn in de zoekfunctie van Spotify is enorm gestegen. Ja. Ik denk ongeveer vertienvoudig.
De leeftijdscijfers daar ook checken, want bij mij lijkt het allemaal toch zeker 60 plus.
Ja, dat is natuurlijk misschien een dingetje. Maar dus die vertienvoudiging van onze opzoekcijfers, die hopen we nog eens te kunnen herhalen, want we hebben een zeer, zeer speciale gast vandaag. Want onze gast vandaag is niemand minder dan de president. Welcome, Mr. President. We are deeply humbled to have you here on our podcast.
I assure you it's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
So.
How did you end up being here? Have you ever heard of the podcast before?
As soon as the podcast was started, I became aware of it very fast. I just thought it was really cool, very excited, particularly that it's Dutch speakers. Don't hear so many Dutch speakers in Brussels these days. So it's great. I think it's really exciting that we have supporters that want to do a podcast. So if that's the case, I thought I'd offer to make an appearance.
And did you ever think of starting your own podcast, or did the club ever think of starting a podcast before?
It has been discussed, but
that's what I thought.
But I don't know. It's I always find it really uncool when clubs say we have an exclusive interview with someone who works for the club, and kind of, not really. Kind of made them do it. It's not. So we talked about it and we thought, it doesn't really fit with. Don't think it fits very well. And I thought that we also felt like we looked into like what sort of different topics we could do, and we had plenty, but then we thought it would sort of run its course and become a bit more fan discussy, and we prefer to leave that to the fans rather than
Mm-hmm. So there are already such good ones out there. So
so this actually fits the idea that you have.
I think
Let the fans do it. That's nice.
No, I think so. I think it's more, well, obviously it is authentic rather than inauthentic. If you're talking about a scale of authentic to inauthentic, it's the opposite ends of the scale. So yeah.
Okay. So, but I guess you have never listened to any of our episodes since it's in Dutch.
I have had it translated at times.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Really nice.
Not the whole episode, but specific points that.
Okay, so you have more impact than we think.
People thought I might find interesting.
Okay, very nice. Nice. That's good. So then you maybe know that the opening question we always have for our guests is, when was the first time you were in the stadium?
First time I was in the stadium was when football came home with that large banner against Leuven.
Yeah,
in summer 2018.
Yeah.
And what was the first thing you thought when you entered this place?
What is the first thing I thought? Well, I had been watching on video for a few months.
Yeah, okay, so you already knew.
And I was quite shocked, actually, because obviously it had been Hazel or away games. And I was pretty shocked. It was spectacular. It was, that banner was something, I can still picture it in my mind. Yeah. It was just exciting. It was really... I remember just thinking to myself, wow, this is more than I was expecting at the start. I was expecting it to build to this, but not, but obviously we timed it very well, because it was the first game back for, 2 seasons away, so technically 3 years, I suppose. 2 years and 4 months or whatever.
It was also my first game actually in the Duzenpark.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was my first game.
Yeah.
Historic nights.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, but at that point,
foot mob bodies.
true. That's actually true. But at that point, you were already owning the club, or was the deal already done, or
The deal was done,
just to have some
The
idea
deal was
on the
done.
schedule?
It was May 2018. The deal was done. Yeah, I think it might have been the 17th. But yeah, middle of May 2018.
And if we go back to that moment, like,
Yeah.
how and why did it end up happening? The sell.
How and why did it end up happening? That's over a period of 18 months to 2 years. Tony and I had spent time discussing the fact that we thought it would be a good idea to buy a club together. That was based around the fact that we felt that we would have a significant edge and advantage in terms of player and coach recruitment, as well as just generally thinking that we can run something well together without as much ego as there is usually in football clubs.
That was the starting idea that you had. Like,
a little
we
bit.
can do it better than people do.
Those are the sort of the three things. Look,
Okay.
if you look around, most people that own football clubs in Belgium and in other countries, they don't necessarily own them because they think they have an edge in owning a football club. In fact, I would say that it's extremely rare that would be the case. And
That's true, actually. Yeah.
in and of itself does give you something as well, because you're doing it for a reason that is for the club to be successful and do well, rather than, without picking anyone in particular, something that's for yourself, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so we looked around a lot in terms of, there was a huge number of factors that went into trying to decide which club we wanted to try and buy together. And we came across Union and met Jürgen and came to the stadium and went to see the training pitch. I wouldn't say facilities because there weren't any facilities. In fact,
Where was the training pitch at that point?
Okay. Really?
Ironically.
We will talk about that.
Ironically.
Okay.
And, so we went down there and established that there was one field and no changing facilities, and that the players were driving to the stadium, getting changed, getting into their cars again, driving to the training pitch in Bempt, which I'm sure, it's only 2 kilometers away, but Brussels traffic can take a bit of time. And then you go and train, and then you get back in your car all sweaty, drive back to the stadium, have your shower, get changed, drive home. So yeah.
Then you were like,
come a long way.
This is it. This is the club we want to buy.
After saying that,
that was the moment when we realised there were no toilet facilities. We thought, I'll tell you, we can do something here. Do something.
No, what were like the criterions you were looking for? What team? What was the ideal club like in theory?
Well, it ended up being Union, I have to say.
It is the ideal club.
There was a lot. I mean, first and foremost, we needed it to be a country where you could actually buy a football club. I know that sounds silly, but Germany can't buy a football club.
Yeah, as a foreign owner, you mean you cannot?
Even if you're German, it's 50+1.
As an owner, you cannot buy. Yeah, true. Yeah.
And we wanted to have control because of everything I was talking about before. It was about having an advantage and as well hoping to run it in the right way. And you can't do that if you don't have control of the decision-making process, which you don't in Germany. So that ruled them out. We didn't want to go too far away because didn't want the travel to be completely outrageous. I also personally didn't want to fly everywhere all the time, which sort of really ruled out quite a lot, as you would imagine. We needed a country where it was quote unquote easy to recruit foreign players, because we didn't want to be tied down to just one market. And there are certain countries where they have very restrictive rules on how many non-native players that you can have. Yeah. We wanted a non-corrupt country. We wanted that. We ruled out one club because the fans were quite violent or just unpleasant. Yeah. And that was something that would, you can't go into a club and try and change the culture of a club. I think too many people try and think that they can do that, and you can't do it. The club has a culture that it has, and what people don't seem to realise is that when someone decides, I want to support a football team, they spend a lot of time thinking about the people that go and they're the people they want to hang out with. So that's why the culture of the club stays, because the people that join the club tend to also be that sort.
That's actually true.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not like when you grow up, you just go, I'm just going to pick team X just because they're winning all the time. They have to be winning all the time, and you like them generally.
Mm.
I mean, I would say
It's a very good approach to find a club like that.
Yeah.
it's worked out okay so far.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
And was Union for sale at that point?
Yes,
It was. So that
Which
it
was-
was actually the perfect
honestly,
context.
which I know it sounds trite, I suppose, but it is a very important part, because the majority of football clubs are not for sale.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
there's
that's why I asked.
no point in finding the perfect football club and then saying, "Hi, I'd like to buy your football club," and they say, "You can offer me 100 million. I'm not selling this club that's worth 2 million on the open market because I don't want to sell it." So yeah, we had to find one that also made sense in that regard. And Jürgen was very, very transparent that he felt that he had taken the club as far as he could, while being comfortable. Like he had enough money to technically spend a lot more money, but it would become very risky personally for him, and he didn't want to take that risk, which, by the way, is incredibly sensible and, not the right way to do it. So yeah.
And so how was the contact with Jürgen? Well, what kind of a guy was he? Because we've been discussing him before.
What sort of guy was Jürgen? Okay, so we came in contact via an intermediary, which is very common. There isn't. It's not like right. Do you have Rightmove here? Like where you're looking when you're looking for a flat or a house.
No.
You go to the website and you look at all the houses that are available, and they're all listed with prices. It's not like that for football clubs.
Emo app here.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
It's not like that for football clubs. It's not like
Yeah, no, exactly.
It doesn't
That's
really
what I
work like
asked.
that. So yeah, we I remember we had a legal company that we used that tends to know all of the clubs that are potentially available or very available. And we looked into quite a few. We did some diligence on a few, and they weren't the right fit. One of them was in Belgium.
Okay.
And yeah, it just didn't. It wasn't right. So it for various reasons. So.
Was that the one with the bad atmosphere and?
No.
okay.
That one was in Holland.
Okay, in Holland.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And then once the deal was finalized, you went home and told everyone, so I bought a football club, or how did that go?
Most people knew that, if you're looking for something for 18 months to 2 years,
Good point.
people become aware of what you're spending your time doing. And yeah, it was, it's almost like, constant updates about what's going on and what the due diligence is showing. And, Southsay's made the save. Thank God for that. Otherwise, it could be a problem. So yeah, because that was a big moment, that penalty save. So I was watching in my bedroom on.
So it's true that they say if this wouldn't have happened, then the deal would never have gone through.
We couldn't have bought an amateur football club.
No,
that was not the point.
Because I tell you why, it's nothing to do with Union. It's nothing to do with what's ended up happening. And if I'm being honest, if Union was an amateur club now, I wouldn't go anywhere, because you fall in love over a period of time. But at that point, that had not taken place yet.
Yeah, that was not the idea.
Look, if you want to recruit players using data from various parts of the world, they're not going to come and play Belgian amateur football. So it became impossible.
It's not the point.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But so you said you were well positioned to buy a club, or you thought, the two of you thought, okay, it would be nice if we can buy a club together. So if we go back a bit more, why was that the case, or what were you doing at that time?
Well, I have been betting on sport for at that point for my entire professional career, my entire professional life. That was my thing. And in order to bet professionally, you need to know who's good and who isn't, both players and teams. Yeah. And if you think about it, what other way could you do that well in theory? Football club.
But true. But so you were working for Star Lizard at that point?
So I was working for Star Lizard from 2006 until 2023.
Okay, so yeah, it's a long time basically.
Yeah, long time.
And how was your career throughout the firm?
Well, I started in the summer of 2006 as a 22-year-old.
So it was really your first job, basically, almost.
I did have jobs before. I worked in a bar. I remember working at a Franz Ferdinand concert and getting home and receiving my paycheck, and I had €4 per hour after tax, and I thought,
whoa,
this is heavy, man. I need something else. I need to do something else here. And I worked at a company inputting data on sports events.
So that was already a bit.
I would sit at a desk, I would watch tennis, and then I would say, point for the home person, point for the away person. That was an ace, double fault, that sort of thing for tennis. I did it for football as well, and there was one other sport that doesn't. Cricket as well.
Okay. Sounds like something that is automated by now.
Vaguely. Oh yeah, it's automated by now.
I would say
I've been automated out of my first career. That is for sure. Yeah. So yeah, but it was my first full-time serious thing. Yeah. And I was there, and my first role there was essentially placing bets. So someone would ring me and say, "I want to have a bet on team X."
Just literally placing them. Yeah.
This amount. And then I would ring someone, or I would click a button, and then I would fill in the details. And that was my first gig. And then I became like an assistant to the CEO. And then I took over. I don't know how interesting this is for you. Tell me, interrupt me if this is not.
It's very interesting, actually.
No, it's very nice.
It's a podcast.
And then I became the head of external research, which was essentially all of the researchers around the world. There was about 100 of them at one point, I think. And over time, I wanted to have something that was more mine rather than the company's. So I asked permission to bet on a sport, which was American football.
Okay.
And I spent about 60 hours a week outside of my full-time job working on that for several years. And at some point, the conversation came up: would I like to do it for a different syndicate? And I said yes. And things progressed from there. And then I started, so we were talking a little bit about how there's a lot of data for betting in terms of how good teams are and how good players are. There needs to be some sort of work done to take that from how well a player will play for the team they're currently at under the current manager to if they left to go to another team under a different manager, like as in a normal transfer. And I led work on that, which naturally led to Union.
I want to say, which is a bit the start of the whole data system.
Favorite NFL team?
So I tried to have a favorite NFL team several times, and I got relatively close to the Cleveland Browns at one point, because I just sort of felt sorry for them. But then I had a really big bet against them one day, and I didn't want them to win. And I realised that's not a real supporter. So I couldn't do it. Every time I tried to find a team that I liked, if I started betting, if I had a big bet against them, I didn't want them to win. So it's not real love. So.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and I always get disappointed.
I'm sorry for you. I mean, at the moment, I've always found it very difficult to support a team where I have no involvement in the decision making. If the decision making becomes very bad, I could do it when decision making isn't bad, and I can agree with most of it. But when you sign a guy who's currently about to face a civil suit for rape, and you give him the biggest contract in the history of the sport, it's not a decision I could get behind.
It's not.
I would struggle with that. So
Union would never hire a player like that.
Union would never hire a player like that.
It only seems that it's.
Oh, don't worry, Marseille have hired all them this summer, so there's none left. They've gone to all the jails and signed anyone who can kick a football. So.
And the other thing I was wondering, did you ever, or do you ever play poker with Tony Bloom? Or
I have played poker in the same room as him before, but never at the same table. Tony is excellent at poker. I am not so good at poker. I get a bit bored. I'm not very good at, I don't know if you play poker or you've played poker, but if you have a poker, to me, I've always, since I was a teenager, I've always wanted to try and win at stuff. And so when I was say 10, 11, 12 years old, I used to play fruit machines. and I quickly established that you can't win at them, and I didn't like that.
That's true.
And so when it comes to poker, for me, what's always happened to me is if I'm playing for low stakes, I get very bored. I'm not really interested. It's not interesting enough. And if it goes to high stakes, I can't win because I'm not good enough.
So then it's not interesting either.
So then it's not interesting either. So I've always sort of fell in between the two cracks.
Makes sense.
So I enjoy the game on if there's a whatever, like a charity tournament or a friends tournament or whatever, and it's just for fun. Yeah, I'll go and have fun, definitely, because it's the social element that makes it enjoyable. I can't make money out of it, so I don't find it interesting.
I get that. Okay. And were you a football player yourself when you were younger?
I was a bad football player, yeah. Very bad, yeah.
So I want to ask, what kind of player were you? But
I was a centre midfielder.
Okay.
Yeah. I won't go too deep, but I got very badly injured when I was about 18 years old.
Okay. So that was the end of...
So yeah, I went to university and I was playing probably 25 to 30 hours a week of football. There was like a five-a-side cage next to where I was living in a hall of residence, and it was just amazing. Honestly, look back on it with such a big smile on my face, just thinking, waking up, I've got lectures, but I don't need to go because it's whatever. It was the first year.
Student life.
It was the first year actually, and I thought they did it so badly. They made it 0% the first year. And then I think it was like 30% the second year, or 70% the third year. But essentially, first year was just don't have to turn up. You don't have to do anything. So just like wake up, go to the cage. Right, there's no one there. Go back to the hall of residence, maybe have a nap, wake up, and then by noon there was 5 or 6 people there ready to play football. I just played football all day. So, and then got injured, and that was the end of that. But I never reached a good level. I was in the third team at university. How's that? Of 7. Third of 7.
Of 7, okay.
Of 7, yeah.
That's
there you
nice.
go. That's the level that we're talking about.
Yeah, but it's central midfielder, and you should have good feet, no?
Was it like street football, or was it more like...
Yeah, the cage was very street football, yeah.
So La Poussin would fit in there.
He would fit, and Sufjan would fit in very well.
Sufjan as well.
Yeah.
And so then, so you were working at Star Lister, and at that point, Tony Bloom bought Brighton throughout the time that you were working there?
Yeah.
So in a way, you saw what it means to be the owner of a football club in a way. So maybe that also put the seed in everyone's mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds fair. I think it would have put a seed in a lot of people's minds. Not many of them actually do something about it.
I get that if you see it every day.
But yeah, that's fair.
But so all of you were living in Brighton?
No.
At that point.
I've always lived. I was born in Brighton. When I turned 18, I moved to London. I never moved back.
Okay.
So, and he lives in London as well.
So I wanted to ask, why should we visit Brighton? But then maybe you're not the best person to ask it to.
Not the best person to ask, no.
Favorite team in London?
At the coast, and that's nice.
Well, Arsenal is favourite team in London, I suppose. I'm really near them. My son likes them.
Nice. He's also a Gunner.
Okay. My son likes them, but yeah, if it's again, it's kind of it's NFL-esque, I would say. If there was a very large bet against Arsenal, I wouldn't be cheering them. So it's not real. So, but yeah. I want them to do well.
Only one club in your heart.
And I have, definitely. And I have a lot of friends who are Gooners, so that helps me want them to do well as well. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. And so if we go back to Union and like the first years of like the Alex Muzio era, let's say, how was it? Like, for example, how many of the people that are still working there today were there already, or how should we compare the situation in 2018-19 to what it is today?
Well, one big point about what we were looking for when we were trying to find a team was that we didn't want somewhere with a lot of staff.
Because you wanted to bring them in.
We knew we were going to do our own thing. We didn't have staff in mind, to be clear. It's not like there are other clubs who have been bought, and then lots of those nationalities have ended up there. It's all local people. It's all Belgian people. It's not like we've imported 50 Brits or something like that. It's not that we had specific people in mind, but we knew that we wanted to do things in a certain way. And it's not, I don't know, it's not really my style or my desire to turn up somewhere and go, right, either do it this way or go and find another job. That's not doesn't fit my vibes. So yeah, how many people are still there? Okay, well, Jean-Marie Phillips, big up Jean-Marie, still comes to the games, but he no longer works at Union. He is retired, to be fair. And then Marc Grosjean,
He was like that.
is no longer working at Union. He left very quickly. Petit, cleaning guy, just left, so we're going to count him just about. Stefan van der Berg, physio.
He was already there at that
He was
point.
already there. Axel, doctor.
True, yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
And now, if there's someone that I've forgotten, you're going to make me look really bad. But I don't think there's anyone else, because Philip Wehry just left, the délégué. Yeah. So yeah, not many, but to be fair, there weren't that many there.
Yeah, good. But so basically, the first real job was to find the right people, or the most important job.
Yeah, and
like
I
at that point,
that one up really badly first time around. Sporting director did not fit. I was just very inexperienced. Still not that experienced. 6 years is not that long to be chairman of a football club. But yeah, I that was a mistake. Not here. I'm not trying to criticize him as a person. It just we didn't work well together.
Mismatch.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, that was the job. But I'm sure you're aware. But the way that I choose to run the club is very much to empower Philippe and Chris, rather than interfere on a day-to-day basis or a regular basis in that way. Look, I'm in touch with them all the time. I spend all my time thinking about Union and
it's like us.
Like a love story.
and taking notes about what we could do differently, and taking notes, and giving ideas and giving direction. But there's too many football clubs that the staff are very confused about who they should be listening to. And if ever a staff member goes to Philippe and says, "But Alex said do it that way," that's when I've failed. So that's not what you want, because then it undermines him and it makes the process just a mess.
Micromanaging, it never works. Yeah.
So, at what point did Chris and did like the squad that is there, like the board room?
So
when did they arrive?
Philippe arrived August 2018.
Okay, so quite
very
early
quickly.
in.
So we hired a headhunter recruiter person. I remember interviewing between 8 to 10 people, and there was a final 2, and he was pretty clear the best candidate. We did our due diligence on Roland Duchâtelet. Spoke to him. Okay. And honestly, you've never heard anyone speak about someone the way that he spoke about Philippe. Like, if Philippe ever gets married, he needs to have this guy do a speech on the wedding day, because it was just, honestly, it was incredible. The praise, the love, just all of it. It was not that was literally the deciding factor, but it was obviously helpful that the guy he was CEO of Centroide, Roland was there, and I mean, you can't, if you're looking for a reference, it was the best possible reference. And then Chris joined summer 2019.
Okay, it's quite early, and they were already there.
He was also head coach at Centroide, no? At one point? Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah. So actually, Philippe recused himself from that recruitment process, and we had 5 or 6 first interviews, 3 final interviews, and Chris was the best.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then the 3 of you were there, like.
Yeah.
And what is today? How do you divide the roles, just to have an idea? Who does what, basically?
Well, Chris is the sporting director, and he is there at the training ground, and he's also now heavily involved in the academy. So he leads the team. So he's leading the physios, he's leading the head coach, is leading the coaching staff. Obviously, the head coach is a very important role, and head coach is managing all of those people. But Chris is there and managing the processes, making sure that everything is going the right direction in that regard. And Philippe is both his manager and also the manager of HR, finance, HR, events, commercial, sponsoring, merchandise, inspires. There's a lot. Yeah. So that's the daily is very much those two. Yeah.
And so your role is really to be on top of that and be more strategically thinking about.
It's much more exactly. It's much more about setting the strategy. And Philippe's style of communication is basically to only call me when there's a problem, because he knows what to do the rest of the time. He just gets on with it. And he, the vision and the strategy, we're aligned on what we're trying to do. In all different, we've sat down and discussed every different department and how we want things to be done, and then he's actioning it on a daily basis.
And the strategy, was it set from the beginning, or is
it's
it changing?
It's definitely evolved. It has to evolve. So first and most, the biggest dividing line was second tier and first tier.
Yeah.
So while we were in the second tier, it was a conscious decision that we weren't going to try and build up the commercial department, because almost every cent you spend on the commercial department, you won't even get it back, because people don't want to sponsor a second tier team. We didn't have a women's team because we wanted the focus to be getting promoted. As soon as we got promoted, had a women's team. The academy was very much a do the least that is acceptable in a moral way with your academy until you're promoted. I could go on. Communication is the same. And then once we were promoted, then that was a huge dividing line in terms of responsibilities, in terms of strategy, in terms of what the plan is. And then that was the first three. So that it's only been 6 years. The first 3 years was like that, and now the last 3 years, it's evolved a lot quicker because suddenly we were not just a first division team, but playoff one team, and suddenly we weren't just a playoff one team. We were playing in the Champions League qualifiers. You need to, obviously you have to adapt as things change.
In our last episode, the news reporter from the Nieuwsblad, she said that
I saw the quotes. Some of them were incredible. I wake up with data in my mind, and she would walk to London to interview me. Is what I heard. If that's correct or not, I'm not sure.
Have you heard the one from doing a live podcast on the plane No?
That was an idea.
It's an open invitation. We can do podcasts everywhere. So
lovely. All right, sounds good.
And does it mean that you have like your own office close in the containers next to the stadium, or in Leer, or should we?
I'm not an own office kind of guy. I'll have a laptop and sit at a desk. But no, I don't have my own office. No.
But are you often in Leer or in the stadium?
Very rarely in Leer.
Very rarely. Okay. But so
I come to the Brussels offices, say, once a month on average, but not prescribed. I'll be there next Friday, for example, because we play Standard on a Friday, so I'll come early and go and hang out a bit. But yeah.
And how are the containers from the inside? I always wonder when I pass.
They're quite nice. You'd be surprised.
They're
pleasant. The big problem is in the very brief, super hot Belgian summer. Is difficult.
I can imagine. Life in a container is hard.
The winter's easier to handle because the heaters work better than the air conditioning, which is opening a window.
Luckily, it's winter now. So
luckily, winter seems to have come very fast. Yeah. I remember walking in shorts about a week and a half ago, and now it's
that's true. In 2 days, it's all of a sudden was winter, and now it's dark at 8. So,
but it's like the containers are the best solution you have to have the office, or is because of the stadium situation that you don't really want to change into real.
It's difficult. How would you invest this? There's only houses nearby.
True.
You want to keep everyone together. It's difficult, but but if and when we build a stadium, there will be very nice offices in there. I assure you.
Probably,
no porta cabins outside. Yeah.
But so you always come for home games and away games, of course.
Yeah.
To Belgium, always by train, then Eurostar, and then we'll see where to go.
I'm going to Twente getting the train to Amsterdam, and then I will rent a car and drive over
to Enschede. Okay, that sounds like a drive.
Yeah, nice. Hour 45. Yeah.
And you always come...
nice Tesla, so it's all right. It'll be
nice.
okay, that's nice. The car will drive itself, no problem.
That's nice. But you always come by tram from the train station,
Sometimes
from
I
Brussels
walk.
Midi to... Oh, you walk, okay.
Yeah.
Right, it's not that far, actually.
Nice.
Nice to get some exercise in. You spend a lot of time.
Because
spend too much time sitting down. So any excuse to try and use my legs a bit.
Yeah, because we were wondering that would he have a personal driver or something, but definitely not.
Definitely not. Definitely not. What's that?
Yeah, we were thinking, okay, will they take an Uber or?
No, I got the tram. I got the tram just now. Got off at 4. Yeah, Forest
nice,
National. Yeah,
I always
walked up that awful hill.
That is a very awful hill. True.
You love Belgium now and Brussels?
Yeah, I love Belgium. Yeah.
Favorite dish?
Oh, so the problem is because I can't eat gluten. I get stuck. But
that will get difficult.
The Friterie de la Barrière is my
yeah,
favorite
really nice.
friterie. I head there when I can.
It's a nice
and I
one.
like Bavette Bay.
Bavette, yeah.
The pasta place.
Yeah.
They do amazing. The best gluten-free pasta ever.
Really?
Ever had.
really? Okay.
So to all your sans gluten listeners,
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Bavette.
there you go. There you go. They're not paying me for this. I do not get any free bavette.
No ads, not sponsored listeners.
And do you have like a favorite bar or a favorite place close to the stadium? Or do you sometimes go to any of the places?
So it's an interesting one because I think that if you start to try and have a social life in a city that isn't where your wife and children live,
Yeah.
then you start to get yourself into big troubles, big problems.
True.
So no, I would say my friends have regularly laughed at me because, say, I remember after big win, maybe Union Berlin, and my friends were over, and they were like, "Right, where are we going?"
And you have no idea.
It's, Grand Place is good, apparently. So, yeah, I don't have. There's no favorite. Definitely no favorite bars or socializing. The food that I've just listed is somewhat of my favorites. Yeah, but yeah,
And have you ever considered moving to Brussels, or that's just not?
definitely not. But I've got a
It's not-
7-year-old
you
and a
don't need-
4-year-old.
Yeah.
There's no point in
And
doing it.
They're at school, and it's just not. Yeah,
No.
as I say, it just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. And also, if I wanted to run the club on a day-to-day basis, I would want to become the CEO because that's what I think the person should do, and that's not my skill set. So yeah, it doesn't make sense.
so
If
it doesn't make sense.
If I'm here and I want to be hands off, it's sort of the opposite, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying that I want to let Philippe and Chris run everything and give them the autonomy and not micromanage them. And then also I move to Belgium and hover over them. And that doesn't really work, I don't think. So yeah, I think if I had been born a Belgian, then obviously I'm not moving out of the country, just to be clear, to give Phil and Chris space. But I think there's something different about moving from a country
Indeed.
to staying where you are. Yeah.
Well, London is also nice, huh?
It is. It's pretty expensive, but it's nice.
okay.
It's nice.
I don't think Bavette is there, so
No, it's true. It's true. No,
There's
not
no
as good
Bavette in
gluten-free
London.
pasta.
for the
that's
rest,
for sure.
for the rest is okay.
For the rest is okay.
Also a nice place to eat, I think.
Yeah, it's okay. Not so bad. Not so bad.
And if we talk about like the day-to-day life of the club,
Yeah.
I think what most people would want to talk about, or which is like the general topic, is the recruitment system.
Yeah.
What I was wondering, or what I sometimes wonder, is why is not everyone just copying what Union is doing, since it's working that well? It seems like, why on earth would you not do it? Or maybe, is it that easy to be copied? Maybe that's a better question.
I would suggest that it's pretty difficult to be
Union.
to be
There's only one, of course.
yeah, it's pretty difficult when you have the data access that we have via a company called Jamestown Analytics. It's very difficult to compete in that regard. I think, for example, Ghent this summer have talked quite a bit in various interviews about how they see Union manage to sell their best players every year. Why can't they? They're signing young players on lower salaries, similar to Union have done. So they are trying at the moment to try and at least replicate the approach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say.
But because I would say every football team has a data system these days.
It's true.
But
Just different data, I
It's
think.
just different data. That's
Different data, I think.
Yeah.
Or Union has more. Maybe.
Different data, different
more.
analysis of the same data. Yeah.
Yeah, also the analysis part.
Yeah.
And so, what would be a difference, for example, to make it a bit more Logical. What does Union do that other teams doesn't?
Well, look, first and foremost, everyone has access to StatsBomb and Y-Scout and Opta. And,
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
They're all available.
Everyone, yeah.
They're publicly available data sources. The club has access to a private data source that is not available to the public.
Yeah.
So that would be the first most important.
That's already
part.
important, yeah.
And also to make the team, because now you have like a very specific way of footballing that's also into algorithm, or that's just...
No, I would say, look, that's come quite naturally. I always find it really funny how, look, people like to compare Brighton and Union. They like to talk about whatever, and that's all their vibe. That's fine. But what I always find really weird is that if you talk about, say, City Group, they go out of their way to make everyone try and play in exactly the same way, and it's very important. And the same staff move around, and we've never had the same staff. And if you watched Brighton play over the last 3 years, and you watched Union play, you would just be like, "Who? Like, it's like the most weird opposite football possible." Yeah, Brighton desperately trying to play football, you know, trying to keep the ball at the back as much as possible, play through the middle. Us pretty much the opposite, and you know, lots of pressing, lots of more direct, I would say, not as direct as maybe some people like to say, but still, So how did that come about? Yeah, it's pretty natural. I mean, we ended up recruiting players that we thought were very talented, who were good guys, who fit in with Union. And I remember we started the season 2019-20, the third season, the season we were promoted. We were playing 4 at the back at that time. And after maybe 5 games, we moved to 3 at the back, and we haven't moved back from that since. And essentially, I would say that is now it's quite hard to get away from, because we've recruited so specifically for 3-5-2 for such a long time. You would need to fall into another formation because of lots of injuries or very specific players leaving, or it's quite difficult to imagine moving away from that now. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's just the way that the squad's constructed and the way that Mercatos work. It's hard. You know, you go into it with a big plan. We think that this player is going to leave. We think that this player is going to stay. We need to recruit for this position. This is the budget for this one. You don't. It's very difficult for me to imagine a scenario where we get away from it. As I say, we got into it at some point, so maybe you can get away from it at some point.
This Mercato, everything went to plan?
No.
It's never good.
That never happens. Right? It's basically impossible. Definitely not. I would say on the incomings, I would say pretty much to plan as much as possible. We were trying to sign Usinu Niang for what felt like a lifetime. 3 months maybe. It was easily the worst transfer saga we've ever had. Extraordinarily painful, so challenging, and you can tell from the fee, out of Latvia that doesn't happen very often. And I think it's the highest fee since the Southampton striker who was Latvian called Maris something in like 2004. It's the highest fee since then. And he was the Latvian Messi, so that was challenging, but overall the ins have gone very well. I would say that we had planned that we were expecting that players would leave that haven't left, because they came to us and they said that they wanted to leave and that they had a plan, and so we, you never know as a player what the reality is, but when someone says that, you have to replace them. You can't wait until they leave and then replace them, because if they leave with 2 weeks to go to the end of the window, then you're scrambling so you have to plan. And generally speaking, in historic seasons, when that's happened, the player has ended up having something that makes sense, and then it's all good.
No, he didn't leave.
But now we have a bigger squad than is ideal.
Was the player that was linked to Tottenham at one point?
No. Maybe. But I don't want to. I find it very unbecoming when chairmen of football teams talk about players as some sort of token to be moved around, or they're
sorry.
No, not at all. I just want to explain that.
Yeah,
it's not from secretiveness that I don't want to talk about individuals. It's a respect thing.
Yeah,
they're not pawns that I sit at home and stroke a cat and move around from this one. We'll go here.
Yeah,
this one, not like that at all. It doesn't.
Sometimes we just play FIFA. And
of course.
And then we're like, oh, it's so easy. Why don't sell them?
No, it's true. Yeah. But that's how I think that is how the discourse has got to that level. And it's not healthy for football. It's not healthy for the people that work in football.
But you, as the president, you are involved in every transfer that is done. So you are personally in contact with every player or potential player. No,
definitely not.
That seems a lot of work. Yeah.
No, it's not about the work. It's about the reality that it would be really terrible for me to do lots of work with a player, and then as soon as he arrives, just go, right, I'm never seeing you or speaking to you again.
Yeah, true.
No, it's Chris and his team are doing a lot of the background work and doing the,
And when is the first time that you get into contact with a new player?
So sometimes when I see them at a game.
Okay, so really,
I had a really really fun one the other day actually at Dender. After the game, I'd never met Toby. Promised David Toby. And he was doing sprints after the game, and because he hadn't played enough, and he was just like sweating and tired. And I went over. He was walking back in. Toby, nice to meet you. He went, I'm Alex, and he went, oh hi. And what do you do? I was like, I'm the chairman. He went, oh man, great to meet you. Thanks for bringing me here. It's very wholesome. Very
nice.
Wholesome, so, yeah.
But that shows the division between the roles that we've been talking about. So that's
100%. Yeah,
that's nice.
And so, for example, with like older transfers, for example, Burgess or something.
Yeah.
When was the first time you met up with him?
Wow, Burgess.
Or how did
Burgess will have been potentially at the RWTM promotion game. Potentially, because I couldn't go to any games. So for quite a long time in that season. I had to get special permission to go to that one. Yeah, I got stopped. If you remember the first game in the top flight, we beat Anderlecht.
Yeah,
stopped
the very first.
Stopped to the airport. They wouldn't let me on the plane. They said that I didn't have a signed piece of paper by the mayor of the local town
really?
in order to go. I was like, what do you mean? I don't even. How am I supposed to get signed? But how can I get a signed letter from the mayor when I can't get to the mayor? Anyway, it was one of those. Yeah, it was that sort of time. Yeah.
True, but so. You're rarely in contact with the current play or with players in general.
Basically never.
Okay.
Basically never.
Because I want to ask, do you
go
ever
on the pitch after the game? It's like
we always see that.
Every game, try and go on the pitch after the game, win, lose, draw, great performance, terrible performance, and shake everyone's hand and just it's become the best way because they don't want to stop and chat. Because they've just been running around a lot and they're tired and they want to go in and shower and they want to, so there's no pressure for them to chat. You go to the training ground and you're hanging around and does he want to talk to me? Let them get on with their jobs. So
in the stadium, is there like a room for like the players and the families or not really? No,
unfortunately,
there's not a lot of rooms.
There is one at Anderlecht. So when we have played Anderlecht, there's a players' lounge there, and
And also, you have a lot of Belgian teams where the chairman goes into the dressing room. Not a big success.
Not a big success for me personally. Not for my style. Look, probably the most famous one has won 2 of the last 3 titles and.
Yeah,
4 of the last 5 maybe, I can't remember.
That one. Yeah, I was thinking about 2 other guys.
I don't think you can criticize too much. Whatever he does seems to be working.
That's also true.
Might become the chairman of the.
But
the Belgian national team.
I was talking about Bart. You're talking about Vincent. Anyway, he's been very successful as well for a long time. Both of them together.
Yeah.
But I remember nice memory of when we beat Kortrijk in playoff 2 in 2019.
Okay. Yeah.
Luca Elsner didn't know the rules on going into the dressing room, and I don't know if you know them as well. But essentially, if the chairman goes into the dressing room after a win, he has to give a double bonus to the players. That's like a tradition.
Really?
That's a thing. Okay,
Now,
I didn't know that.
I might have been lied to relentlessly about this.
Maybe they told
but
you.
I don't think so. I think it is quite traditional that the chairman, if he goes in, is going to give a bonus. Obviously, he doesn't literally have to. Anyway, so I got persuaded to go into the dressing room. I didn't know why, and as soon as I walked in the room,
Everyone was like, yes!
There's like Face Elamani staring at me, Teddy staring at me. Ready, what's he going to do? I was like, why are they looking at me like this? And then it was explained to me, and I was like, fuckers, you got me to go in here. You knew that I didn't know that. Anyway, and I've not been in since.
That's why Antwerp has money problems right now. So
that's maybe why.
Paul gets in there.
No, I've not been in since then. Not once.
So I wanted to ask, do you ever discuss British politics with Burgess? But so that doesn't... No. The question is no. The answer is no.
Definitely no. Yeah, definitely no.
Okay, but then, because I've seen that we have a little bit of time left, so maybe let's go back to the future of the club. So that's a good thing to end up with.
Yeah.
Maybe a general question would be, where do you see the club in 10 years, or what's like the vision for the future, since you are the man of the strategy?
Look, it really is stadium. It's boring, but in terms of the answer. But yeah, it's all about Philippe and I have been very clear. Philippe more clear publicly than I have, but would much rather, if you gave me two options, one is you win the next 2 titles, and one is you'd win neither, but you get a stadium built. You have to pick that. You have to.
Indeed.
It's the future of the club.
Title would be nice. But
title would.
I get it.
But the future for like 100 years of the club would be secure, and that would be an incredible thing to do and achieve. So yeah, honestly, it all comes down to that. We want to move the training ground nearer as well. The plan has always been, as soon as we move into a new stadium, the youth team will play at Marianne, which is currently in the 3rd tier, which is obviously not too far away from where Union was in 2018 as a first team.
True.
And that the women's team would be a Super League team in Marianne
in the stadium.
Nice. So there's a lot there. Those are a lot of things, training ground, academy, moving the academy into the Marianne, moving the women's having a Super League team in Marianne, and obviously most prominently the first team in a new stadium.
You've been investing a lot as well in the academy now, right? This Mercato.
Definitely more.
Yeah.
Definitely more. Look, when we got promoted to the 3rd tier, unless you want to get embarrassed, you need to invest in both players and staff and facilities to give yourself the best chance of staying in the league. And look, I very much hope that we can get promoted in the long term as well. So it's a Challenger Pro League, Union unnamed, like not club. NXT or RSC.
What's the name?
16. What would it be called? We haven't done that yet. We need to come up with some snazzy name.
Union next.
It cannot be Union next.
Union
the futures.
NXT, so it's like NXT is lovely, perfect. Yeah, no.
Stam Martine.
But like talking about the stadium and the whole situation, is there like a deadline for you guys that you say like, okay, if until then the BEM thing is not going through, then we give it up? Or
so the way anything like this works in terms of a project, it's not, you've got a line here at the start and a line here at the end, and sometimes you're moving that way and sometimes you're moving that way. But unfortunately, at any one time, you can never think, it's never clear to you, this is dead, this is never happening. There'll always be opportunities and hope why you might get there. So in 5 years, I hope we're there. That would be great. But if in 3 years' time we're not there yet, I can't see now what that future will be. Maybe in 3 years' time, it could be as extreme as, I know that in the next couple of months something's going to happen because of this, and this. Or maybe it will be, I think nothing's going to happen because of this, and this. It's hard. You just don't know. So the answer to the question is, there is definitely no... I do not have June the 17th, 2027 penciled on my calendar as, right, if there's no stadium by then, just give up. No. Yeah. So, because I do believe that site is perfect.
Yeah, because like a lot of times then there's discussions, people say, but maybe there are other options, but just to be clear, so the idea that we can still change the current stadium is that's not an option whatsoever. And people that say that are just...
It doesn't work in the long term. It's not possible.
It's not working.
There's loads of trees there.
Yeah.
like really near.
Yeah.
It's a
And even
park,
that's
so
just
it's like it's really like
it's all
trees are,
protected.
you know, you can't just go around. Like if we could knock down lots of trees, I don't think I'd want to, but I think
No.
if you could knock down lots of trees, then I suppose then it would still be complete nonsense because it's on a street
Yeah.
and there's no, it just doesn't. It's just not. It's not. You can't change the West Stand at all. I mean, none of it.
Yeah, no, because
the ideas that people have, I'm afraid, are really fanciful. In
that's the impression I also get. Yeah.
It's not. Could you spend quite a lot of money to do some minor improvements in terms of where the tent is, for example?
Mm-hmm.
The tent for the media coverage.
Yeah, there's some hospitality in there as well.
Yeah. The large tent. Yeah.
You could, in that area there, you could try and do some things. I don't think you can. Anyway, the whole point is, it's very much not.
Yeah,
if you look at
it's
it
not ideal.
realistically, it's not really possible.
No.
And then people talk about a derelict stadium down the road that's
It's actually here in our
and
street.
and you're just like, yeah, no, you can't. It doesn't really work like that. And then people talk about Audi are shutting down and
Yeah.
True, that's also an option
that's
as
a
well.
really big piece of land. Yeah, but it's not coloured sport. So I've had to learn.
Okay.
I've had to learn about Belgian colours. It's not coloured sport, and it takes quite a few years to change the colour of land. So, where the BEMP site is far away from people. Tick 1,
It's perfect.
which is great. It's coloured sport. Tick.
Yeah.
It's currently not used, by the way. It's like a wasteland.
Yeah, because
If you
people
go
always say,
there,
yeah, but it's a
people are
green
like,
lung in the
it's
city.
a
But
dump. Yeah, but it's not
a
supposed
dump.
to be a dump because dumping is not sport. So
Also true.
there's nothing there, right? There's nothing there to get rid of. Okay, the transport links are excellent, which is really important. We would improve the area. It would look much nicer.
Yeah.
People say that
Definitely,
I
yeah.
like to walk my dog there. And you go, okay, do you though? Because I've been there, and I wouldn't want to walk my dog there. Yeah?
When the stadium's there, then it would be nice to
When
walk
the stadium's there, and we build lots of trees, and we build nice paths, and it looks really pretty, I would want to walk my dog there then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of NIMBYs. You know NIMBYs?
Not in my
backyard.
Yeah.
In
It's
general,
always
I
like
would
that.
say. And look, honestly, we've got big plans in terms of how we would, use solar panels, how we would reuse the rainwater, how we would do all sorts of things.
Yeah, because the rainwater is also a thing that people say, yeah, it will be flooded every other
if
week.
you think
with that.
that the Belgian government, whether it be national, regional, or local, would allow someone to build a stadium and make the drainage situation worse, I can assure you from many, many meetings that I've had that is not allowed, and also would be really stupid to allow. This is not me saying it, they won't let you do stuff. No, it would be ludicrous if we built a stadium and then everyone got flooded. So we will have to do significant additional work to make sure that it doesn't flood, and we have plans for that, and that all makes sense. But, yeah.
Maybe after the local elections, maybe then it will get better, or...
Yeah, and also just the fact that you finance it all by yourself, so that's no public money in it. So
it's a weird vibe because we're near France, and in France, when you have socialist governments, they tend to pay for stuff like this. But, and we're not even asking for that.
yeah,
I find it extremely challenging because, as I say, I listed all the reasons that it's perfect. There is no reason why it's not perfect. Everything works. The mobility works. The studies are very clear, very good. We don't want to have lots of people driving to the ground. We don't need to. We would do a lot of work to make sure that, for example, I've got a lot of ideas written down, but ways to get people to come to the stadium early, and then make it so that it's proper, it's fluid, rather than everyone turning up at different times.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it, generally involving
happy hours.
Happy hours.
mainly involving this, but very aggressive happy hours. Because other football clubs I've seen with happy hours, it's like
Sounds interesting. Yeah.
Three for a prize of one.
Happy hours.
lots of different stuff there.
Philip
And
Kloos,
getting-
now you're listening, we will have aggressive happy hours.
and the same on the way out, obviously, and just making it so that people want to stay for longer and make it so that it flows well. But anyway, so for me, all of the talk, Philippe has been pretty clear on this publicly as well. All the talk about, we need another mobility study. Okay, we've done 3 now. It's been a few years. I think we need to come up with another boogeyman that means that it's not a good idea, rather than a 4th mobility study. So yeah.
But so I think the narrative generally is that like the commune is mostly not really reacting in general, or not saying no, but just not really reacting. Is that? Can you state it like that, or
I don't want to get too much into the fun and games, I suppose. But it's if I think about it, talking about a green council with the mayor who took over. She didn't win an election, and in general, if you just not specifically about her at all, not specifically about Miriam, but if you come in and you weren't in that situation, you're less inclined to do things, I would say, because you don't have the same mandate.
You might not otherwise elected to be the mayor.
Yeah. I also know that if you are a Green politician in Brussels, part of your campaigning is build less stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is actually true. Yeah.
So but at the same time, I do think you need to have some pragmatism, and you need to see that. Look, what we've tried to say is that we can make this an icon for building the most sustainable stadium possible.
Yeah, because that's what's been said. It will be the greenest stadium,
and it will be an emblem for the Green Party that you can do things.
Yeah.
But be ecological at the same time.
No building anything. You can do it the best way possible. And look, if the council would come to us and say, right, you can build this, but if you build it, we want you to plant the equivalent amount of trees that will cost this much. That would have been a different conversation. It's very much just, do another mobility study. So I think it's more, and as time has gone on, obviously, then it becomes, but there's an election soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
In a few weeks.
It's a few weeks away, baby.
Yeah.
Keep my eye on it.
All right. We'll see about that. But so you're not working on a plan B or C outside of Brussels? No,
I think as soon as you start working on a plan B and a plan C, anyone who doesn't want you to do plan A will say, do plan B, do plan C. You just create a mess. You create a conversation you don't want to have. And a big part of why is, Forêt is not big. Yeah, it's not. We're not talking about huge amounts of land here. There's not
half is Audi factory, of course.
There's not a lot of options, and this one is coloured for sport. It fits on the site.
It's perfect.
It's just everything about it is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So
Union used to have the training ground there, even.
Well, a training pitch. A training pitch. Yeah.
Facilities we can.
So look. For me, it makes no sense to have a plan B when plan A is absolutely perfect and makes no sense to not do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and like the Brussels government, the higher level, how is the contact with them?
Generally been very positive.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. So the general narrative that we can read is from your perspective is right.
Yeah, I think. Well, some of it, probably not all of it. You haven't gone over all of it, but
we are limited in time.
I think in general, it's pretty incredible that someone wants to come and say, "I will spend 100 million on a stadium. You don't have to do anything. We'll do it on a piece of land that's coloured for that." Because colours of the land.
Colours are important.
Yeah. It's got great transport links. It's currently a wasteland. It's quite hard to find things that don't work for that. So the region is pretty happy. I mean, the region wanted to build whatever. What was it? I can't remember the name. It was like had Super in it to replace Hazel. What was it called? Super Stadion or something like that.
Like the Hazel project.
Whatever, and that didn't.
That didn't work. Yeah, true.
Yeah. But I think it would be a positive for Brussels to have a brand new stadium that guarantees the survival for the next 100 years of
one of the
its favourite team.
Most beautiful clubs of Belgium.
We are in favor of the project, but it's not us that you have to. Have to convince.
We can vote. Huh?
I can vote. Yeah,
you can vote. I need to vote in Laken, so it's not.
That's true, actually. Okay, but I see that we almost have to end. But just like we have the same question for starters, we always have the same question to end the podcast, which is like, how is it possible? Is what it's called, because we always ask people. So, what is like the one secret that explains the success of Union for the last years? And I think we will never have anyone who is better positioned to answer the question than this time. So maybe if you name one argument, what would it be?
Last time I said you, so just to
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
I'll say me as well then. Right?
You could.
How is it possible? What? I literally have to only pick one thing. Is that right?
Like a general.
I think it is challenging because it is a general thing. I think that
Most people say data.
I would say we try always to act with humility and with integrity, and that gets you a long way in general. I would say, and I'll go with that.
And maybe sometimes that's something that's lacking in football in general.
I think it's lacking in life in general, possibly.
Also true.
yeah,
But yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Nice answer.
It's a good answer, yeah.
Yeah.
And a good way to end, I would say. Thank you very much to come, Mr. President Alex Muzio.
Perfect.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure.
Thanks.
Yeah,
It was a pleasure for us
Thanks
to
for
have you.
inviting me.
Thank you very much to come.
Stam nummer